welcome to our program, Women to Women. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and as we always promise, we have a really lovely lady with us tonight with a very special talent. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the first half of the show. Villa Basque Deli and Cafe, home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, made right here on the grounds, and it is delicious. We'd also like to thank Carpa Nevada LLC, importer of fine Portuguese olive oils, aged balsamic vinegar, and international health teas. And finally, but certainly not least, CarsonNow.org. It is the 24/7 place to go. When you want to know what's happening in Carson City, it's CarsonNow.org. So let's welcome Robin Sturm. Robin, thank you so much for being with us. Okay, it's a pleasure. I know you from outside of the show, and I'm glad to have you on the show.
You're very welcome, Carol. Thank you for having me.
You know, Robin, I have lots of admiration for any women, and for men too, because starting a business, carrying on a business, is a highly invested, part of your life. On some days, some weeks, it is your life, okay? But before we get into what you do and where you do it, let's talk about Robin herself. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Oh, I was born in Seattle, Washington, and I was there till I was, well, we traveled around a lot when I was younger, but at the age of 12 we moved to Oregon, and that's where I really grew up and graduated from high school there.
Okay.
So, yeah, Madras, Oregon, a small town there.
All right, all right. There are a lot of small towns, but beautiful towns in Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
I've come to appreciate that, as well as in Idaho. Beautiful territory. Now, do you have brothers and sisters, Robin?
I do. I have one full brother and a half brother and a half sister. Yeah.
All right, so you've got siblings to spare.
Yes.
Okay. So when you graduated from high school, or maybe even before, what were your interests as you were growing up as a kid? What was it like at that time?
My interests. I've always been fascinated by the arts. I loved journalism.
Okay.
I always knew that I wanted to help people. That was my longing.
Yes.
And even from a young age, I wanted to pursue counseling.
Okay.
That was marriage and family therapist. It's kind of my lifelong dream.
All right. And you know, something that you just said clicks with me too. And I think it happens to both men and women as youngsters. There's something inside of them that they want to contribute to the betterment of other people's lives. And there's so much in this country to be able to choose from,
Absolutely.
to go to school for, to be educated upon, or just to start your own business. And the outcomes are usually very successful. Not always financially successful, like multi-millions, but you've invested in a community and in people's lives, which makes a huge difference. So when you graduated from high school, what did you do?
What did I do? I traveled a little bit, actually. At a young age, I moved to Roseville, California. I got started in customer service in many different avenues. I worked at resorts, and I worked also in property management. So it kind of coincided. And I did that for many years before I started what I do now.
Okay, and property management entails business.
Absolutely.
So you kind of have a stepping ground, a stepping stone toward what you're doing today.
Absolutely.
All right. What were some of those challenges that you feel comfortable in sharing? Let's say, when you're out of high school, sometimes there's the challenge of, do I want more education? Do I just want to travel? Do I just want to be on my own for a while? Did you have any of those challenges ever early on?
Definitely. I knew from a young age I just kind of wanted to go and do my own thing. I kind of was kind of a wanderer, I guess. And I actually moved out at 17 from my home and had a job and finished high school and kind of just did
You finished high school at 17 on your own?
Well, I graduated at 18, but yeah, I moved out at 17 and worked in...
That's pretty audacious. That's pretty bold, to say, to parents or to a home. And that's kind of that wandering spirit that you have.
For sure.
And also a certain inner confidence that you want to test the waters out there and see whether you can handle those.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So how did you come to Carson City?
That was a relationship, actually, that I was in that started in California. And we had moved to Oregon together, and he worked for the railroad. And that's what brought me here. We transferred for his job. And that relationship did not last.
Okay, was not meant to be.
Yes. However, when it ended, it was a time, I was 30, and that was the time I decided, you know, I need to stop wandering and plant some roots, and I'm happy here, and I stayed, and since then I've met my husband here. So.
Okay, all right. Let me pick your brain a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay. 30 seems to be a very emotional turning point, okay? The dawn is beginning to break over the mountain, so to speak, and here we are, we're 30, and we haven't really investigated or put ourselves into, gee whiz, all kinds of things.
Right.
And it's time to be responsible, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So, when you made that decision, what did you see in Carson City that perhaps helped make you say, okay, I'm going to stay here. That's my big decision right now. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it in Carson City. You know, somehow I'm going to start a business.
Yeah. Well, there were a few things. I missed the small town feel of Oregon. I missed that family type community, and I felt that Carson City had that.
Okay.
In California, I felt like where I was, that kind of lacked that. So I knew that that was
one of
important to
many.
me.
Sometimes people get lost in some states because they are so popular to live in.
Yeah.
And you're just one of many.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it was very different. But I also liked there was a fast-pacedness to it
Yes.
that Oregon didn't have, that California did. So it kind of was a good mixture for me for what I missed about Oregon and what I had liked about California.
All right. All right.
And just at that point in my life, I said, what are you running from? Stop running. So everywhere you go, there you are. So why don't you stay here and plant some roots and start a life?
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
All right. So that was a major decision, turning point in your life when you landed here in Carson.
Yeah.
What was it about the man that you married that said, he is the one?
Well, his name is Mike, and he, honestly, through my young 20s and through my 20s, I had kind of a developing idea of what I wanted in a partner, and he fit the bill. He has an incredible mind and an incredible heart, and I think that finding that good balance and combo is hard sometimes.
When you say an incredible mind, what does Mike do?
He's a mechanical engineer.
Oh, okay, that answers the question right there.
Yes, and he's very much a thinker, and I'm a feeler, so
Yes.
we're kind of yin and yang that way. And
But he has heart to him.
he does, yeah.
And that's good to be able to say about a man, isn't it? Because that softness, sometimes they don't want to really publicly let anybody know that they have a heart there, but it's such a key to respecting and to really falling in love with someone like
Absolutely, and just very giving and compassionate for others. I love that, as am I, so that was a good fit for us.
All right, so let me ask you this then. Okay, you found the right place, you found the right man. How did you find the right business? I mean, when did you decide to actually go into business for yourself?
You know, with being on my own since I was 17, I convinced myself that it wasn't possible to put myself through school and become a marriage and family therapist. So that dream was put on the back burner.
Okay.
So in property management, that's where I ended up here, and it was very stressful, and I didn't feel I was helping people in the way, contributing in the way that I hoped to.
Okay.
So I one day got myself a massage because I was stressed out, and the woman there, within the first 10 minutes of meeting me, said, "You have the perfect personality to do this." And my response was, "Oh, I don't like to touch people." So I love telling that story when people are on the table when they ask, because I'm touching them. But I realized that I have a lot of automated responses for suggestions that people gave me throughout my life. Like, someone thought I'd make a good stewardess. Oh no, I don't like to fly. You know, I just never gave anything any thought. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I left that massage just feeling incredible, and her atmosphere just going, I could make people feel this way, and I could work in an environment like this, which is very different than the property management environment I was in.
Much different.
And so I thought, do you really not like to touch people? You know, and I
have to start asking yourself questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why that came out of my mouth.
Okay.
But I ended up doing some research and found a school that I audited, and within the first class where we partnered up and I had to touch somebody and they touched me, I remember going to the bathroom on break going, oh, I can do this. And oh my gosh, what a journey. That's what started the journey.
It really opened up a door that touched you emotionally as well as intellectually.
Absolutely.
Now, is it tough? How long does it take to become a massage therapist?
It varies. For me, I was working full-time Monday through Friday, and it took me 1.5 years to go nights and weekends. Some people can do it, I believe, in 9 months, and it depends on how far you want to go with it. There's other education available beyond the basics.
Okay, so it's always intrigued me because while we're all human beings, we have different places where things hurt or ache, etc. And unless you have developed over time and with that experience, how do you get to those individuals so they trust you almost on the first time?
Well, for me, one thing that helped me is my personality. I have a way of, good customer service, helping people to feel comfortable and relaxed. You have to be able to read the body and read the people, and you can tell when someone is not comfortable, doesn't trust you yet. And for me, if I sense that, I'll open a conversation, or, to have them take a deep breath, something to help them realize that they're not relaxing. But yeah, it is something that definitely someone doesn't usually trust a massage therapist on the first session,
Okay, and your place of business, you got your education first, all right. Then, how did you go about making the decision to open up a place? Where did you find a place? I mean, who did you talk this over with? What kind of business backing do you have to have?
Sure. Actually, the woman who had planted the seed for me, she held a room for me and said, when you graduate, you've got a place here. Oh. So I did end up working there for 8 months. Okay. And started to build my client base there. And I was still doing it only in the evenings and weekends and working full time. That fit and the location didn't seem to be right for me. Right. So I gave it to the universe, gave it to God, and said, put me where I'm supposed to be. And the next day, I just started looking, and there were several opportunities, one being the chiropractor's office where I met you. Okay. And I didn't realize at the time that he was a chiropractor. It was just an ad for a space for a massage therapist. Okay. You land in some of the most unusual places at the right time, at the right place. So I thought, I'll give it a try. But it turned out very well. I was there for 2 years, and it was Kona Chiropractic, loved it, and met a lot of incredible people through his networking.
Yes, which is how I met Robin to begin with. And I'm not an easy lady to deal with, okay, because I ask a lot of questions, and I want somebody who I think is highly competent. And when I looked at her place, I almost said, I'm going to try and buy this from whoever owns this, but I found it was not for sale, okay? And I have to tell you, Robin, that the first time I came, I was apprehensive. I have had some massages in the past, but at the same time, the atmosphere was not conducive to reducing my stress instantly, okay? I knew the body needed help, but I also had to feel up here in my mind that this was a place of safety and a place that I could trust. So we're going to find out what it is about Robin's place, one less stress, that really makes it quite unique. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Come to the Carson Horseshoe Club for fun and friendly service. Play your favorite games. Join our Players Club, where you get cash for points plus food comps, and enjoy casual dining in our Lucky Horse Grill. Get it all in the heart of downtown Carson City at the family-owned, local favorite Carson Horseshoe Club.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lincoln with CarsonCityHomes.com, Carson City's original online real estate resource.
At CarsonCityHomes.com, you get effective and easy-to-use tools to help you select your next home today. With our easy-to-use website, you can search listings throughout Northern Nevada and narrow the results by selecting every facet, quirk, and quality you desire. Visit CarsonCityHomes.com.
Apex SCF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
We always knew that when we had another baby, we would love it if I could stay home. The kids shape what we do. Everything's about them. So we had to make a lot of changes. Quick Balance is this really nice feature of the Bank of the West app. The more I check into my balance, the easier it is for me to stay on track. You don't even have to log in. Hold on tight. You're on call, 24/7. Every minute that the app saves me is a minute that I can spend with my family. And that means everything to me.
Welcome back to the second portion of Women to Women. We're here with Robin, and Robin is going to clue us in on what it's like to start your own business, especially after you've taken your time to grow up for a while. And that's good for all of us to think on and ponder on, because nothing is impossible if you set your heart on it. But before we get into the second portion, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Dr. Kent Gabriel, MD, noted plastic surgeon right here in Carson City. His specialty is microsurgery of the hands. We'd also like to thank the Carson Horseshoe Club, located in the historic district of Carson. If you're thinking about just a great lunch or a great breakfast, they have beautiful specials in their newly renovated dining room. Why not drop in? We'd also like to thank the Bank of the West, very customer-friendly environment. When you walk in, they know your name. Bank of the West, remember that name. And now let's return to Robin. Robin, again, thank you so much for being with us. All right. We kind of covered in the first half a lot of decision making that you made, okay, until you arrived at the point where you are practicing massage therapy. You're taking a really avid interest in getting to know when a client comes in, what is it that they really need to have from the education I've had and from the massage training that I've had. And so I noticed that the first time I came in to where you were working, which was?
At the time, Kona Chiropractic.
Yes, yes. A really fine place. And then when I came back to you again, you had a brand new environment. Okay, what triggered that?
I just knew that I wanted more. My husband and I want to start a family, and I don't want to have to stress about income.
Yes.
So we were hoping to find a place where we could have a business and live. And I stumbled upon For Body and Soul on East John Street, and it was...
It's history.
Yes, it was perfect.
You know, when I first walked into that new place of yours, One Less Stress, the moment I opened the door, I had no idea from the outside exactly what was waiting for me on the other side. But as that door opened and I saw the fireplace and the beautiful wood decor on the inside, it is so rustic that you can't help but almost have a meltdown right inside your front room. And I instantly thought, if there's any way to make a person comfortable, to lower the stress level that they're coming in with, this is fantastic. This will do it for me. And as I say, I'm not an easy person to deal with all times, okay? I'm focused, I'm energetic, but at the same time, I have some standards there that I care about very much. And they were met, okay? So when I came into you, and as I got to know you as a therapist, the longer I came, I thought, here is someone who is, she's thoughtful in what she says, she's very comforting, but her voice also lends a distinct aura of peacefulness, of calmness. Not everybody has that. That's a gift. That's a gift. So, Robin, when you say, okay, I have to get to know, to be able to read a person's body, okay, where is the stress coming from? How do you do that?
You know, part of it, I think, is natural. There's some natural talent there.
Yes,
I've been empathetic and my whole life, but also just we learn through massaging. The more people we touch, we feel what feels normal and where tension is held.
Right.
People, if they're not breathing, you know, you can tell by their breath if they're uncomfortable or holding tension. It's a combination of things.
Okay, so. What do most people at this point in your practice seem to come in with? Where do we hold tension?
Our neck and shoulders.
Okay, why is that?
You know, I believe a lot of it has to do with how we function in our world. We sit a lot. We tend to lean forward a lot. Most of us do not notice that when we're tense, our shoulders rise to our ears. A lot of us are on computers, using a mouse, or looking at our phones. You know, a lot of the body posture that we put ourselves in.
Okay, so we are a culture that does a lot of sitting.
Yes, yeah.
And that's very different from the age of our parents, and especially our grandparents, where it was physical labor.
Right.
All parts of the body were either out in the fields, on tractors, climbing up and down stairs. And the easier that we have made life, it's kind of an anomaly, is that we've put more, the easier that we've made our lives, the harder it's become physically upon our bodies.
The more stress we're putting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so when, let's say, a person comes into you and they are really bent out of shape. Emotionally, they're not too stable, you sense. Mentally, they're worried, they're full of anxiety, and their body is all saying that to you. What's the first thing that you do with them?
Well, it's important, if it's a first-time client, it's important to make that first impression, and like you experienced, let them know that you're coming into a place of peacefulness, and you can leave all that at the door. So greet them, you know, calmly and peacefully, and good customer service.
And give them the opportunity to leave that at the door. That's a choice, right?
Exactly, yes.
They don't have to bring that into the room if they don't want to.
Yeah, and I listen. You know, people will tell me what's going on in their lives and why they have stress. You know, it's not just a intake form, you know, circle where you're hurting. Like, actually talk to me and let's, you know, let me get a sense of what's really going on with you. And you know, just explaining how I operate and asking them if they have questions or preferences, going from there.
Something that you said earlier, which I think is so important for any couple who want to have children, and that is there's a lot of financing, going on when you want to raise a family. And you're taking a responsible attitude there that if it takes two incomes in order to be able to bring a child into your marriage and into your world, you'd like to be able to provide certainly the basic needs, okay? Yes. And then anything beyond that, you have to kind of talk over and say, do we really need to introduce this at 2 years of age, okay? Does he need this huge computer system? But that's important, isn't it? Absolutely. To feel that you're on the same page with your spouse when it comes to raising children.
Yes.
And that what was going through your heart or through your mind when you talked about with your husband, Mike, about having children, that you were afraid if we don't have the income, what's going to happen to our marriage or what's going to happen to us?
I don't know. I just know that I have this ideal of the parent or mother that I want to be, and I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to provide education for our children, and so does he. That's important to us. I feel that it does take, you know, that extra income anywhere we can bring it in.
Okay, did your own mother set any kind of, do you find yourself thinking sometimes or doing some of the things that she used to do with you as a little girl?
I do, yeah. I think that we all do.
Okay, yes. In what ways do you copy her in some things?
Oh, she is one that is constantly thinking. Thoughts are constantly, you know, trying to plan ahead, look ahead, and really trying to. And I'm finding as I get older, maybe it's an unfortunate thing that kind of putting everyone else before yourself, and kind of that caregiver taking care of everybody else. Absolutely, I copy her in those ways, and give and kind of forget about me sometimes.
Well, maybe we have to. Maybe it's good that we give up a lot more of ourselves than maybe what we think we should have to do. But giving that up means probably filling in holes and filling in needs that your children, that you want to grow up to be productive people, caring people, thinking people. And without that extra input from both parents, that extra time, extra taking from yourself that you might like to hold back on personally from time to time, but you don't. You give it to the kids, to your sons and your daughters, and they remember that. When they get older, they remember that. You're making memories, whether you're aware of it or not. Just in talking these things over with a spouse and then demonstrating them in the marriage with the children, kids remember the most unbelievable things from their parents. All kinds of things. You know. My mother said, I never said that
Oh,
to you.
funny. And different
that's
siblings.
why I use it, Mom, today.
Yeah. And different siblings remember the same story differently. So.
Yes, all the time. But now, let me ask you this. All right, so Robin, if you have a brand new customer who comes in for the first time, is there any kind of an incentive for them?
Absolutely. I'd like to offer to your viewers, those that listen to Women, please mention that to me when you call to book, and you will receive $10 off of your first session, and that's any increment of time that you'd like. And you will be greeted with lovely people there. There's other therapists there who will listen to your needs and concerns and take care of you accordingly.
I think that's so important that again, you're thinking of the customer rather than necessarily of yourself or of your business right now. But I have a really burning question, one last one. You might have to kind of shorten the response. But when you decide to start a business on your own, what type of attitude as a woman do you need to take? Of course, you counseled with Mike, I'm sure, your husband. But aside from that, what is it inside a woman that needs to be there so that you don't step back in fear, so that you don't say, oh no, impossible, I'd never do that?
Right. It's easy to get caught up in that. I would say that you be clear about what you want and don't take no for an answer. There's going to be obstacles along any journey in life, and I would say just be clear about what you want and keep that as the focus. And remember that if you stumbled across an obstacle today, pick up your bootstraps again tomorrow and march towards it.
And there are people along that path, aren't there, who are willing to talk and to help you, to give you fresh ideas about how, or fresh approaches as to how you can manage this.
Absolutely.
It can be done.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, your property management background, I think, must have played a significant role.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. What did you bring out of property management, other skills that you used there that you're also now employing in your own business? Why was that such a good experience for you?
Well, the place where I am now for Body and Soul is unique because there are other therapists that rent there. So for me, as a new manager or new owner coming in, I think what's unique for me and what I've learned over the years in property management, I take a look at how things are operating and how it's running. And then instead of just going in and saying, I have these ideas, this is what I'm going to do, I take a look at how it's running and then communicate and connect with the people already established there and say, well, what do we need to change, what's not working, and then incorporate my own ideas based on what I've seen after some time.
Okay, so you're looking for a track record as well.
Sure, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In other words, it would be very foolish of us to simply assume that by buying a place or investing in a place, it's automatically going to be run the way we want it to be run with success.
Right.
You might run it the way you want to, but not necessarily make a plus out of the whole thing.
Right.
You took time to listen to the others, to watch what they're doing, how they're doing it, before making that initial investment.
Yep.
And I think that that's good advice for all of us out there, regardless of our age. If we have that, as you said, focus, and we have the desire to really make a difference in other people's lives, we want to do it in a positive way. We want people to appreciate what we do, to like us for what we do. I think that there's something that's instilled in most of us, if not all of us, I know that, but in many of us, that we are people pleasers. And it makes us feel, that's such a reward to get back personally, knowing that you made somebody else's life so different for that day or for the rest of that week.
Yep.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come in. We wish you the very best, okay, on your new endeavors. And I'll be in to see you shortly. I'll be making an appointment. I've been on a long trip and I need some help, okay?
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure.
Take care. Have a very good evening. Stay well. Good night.